Hello, this is Dr. Morales, and today we are going to learn to graph the function sine of x. So before we start, our x-axis represents our angles. Here you see the angles in radians. For those of you who don't know radians, pi over 2 represents 90 degrees, pi is 180, 3 pi over 2 is 270, and 2 pi is 360. So our function sine over x is going to be a curve that starts at 0 because sine of 0 is 0, and then we move to sine of 90 degrees. Sine of pi over 2 is 1, sine of pi is 0, sine of 3 pi over 2 is -1, and sine of 360 is 0. Let's check the answer, and it is correct. Now the next one, you have a negative in front of sine of x. That negative, what it does is going to reflect my graph across the x-axis. So as I said before, we start at 0 because sine of 0 is 0, and then sine of 90 is 1, but when we multiply that by that negative that's in front of the sign, it becomes -1. So now it is now a reflection. Let's check the answer, and is correct. All right, so now this one, we have a 2 in front of my function, so it's 2 times sine of x. This 2 is called the amplitude. So what's going to happen, my curve is going to go all the way up to +2 and all the way down to -2. So sine of x, we start at 0 because sine of 0 is 0, and sine of 90 is 1, but when we multiply by that 2, it moves to +2, and the same thing happens with sine of 3 pi over 2 is -1 times 2 is -2. Let's check our answer, and it is correct. Okay, so now we have one that has an amplitude of 4 and is negative. So it's going to be a reflection across the x-axis and is going to stretch all the way to the number 4. So sine of x, we start at 0, and sine of 90 is 1 times 4 is 4, but because it's negative, we're going to reflect it, so it's going to go all the way down to -4. Let's check our answer, and it is correct. Okay, -2 sine of x. Once again, sine, we start at 0, then we move to 90 degrees. Sine of 90 degrees is 1 times -2 is -2, so it's going to be a reflection. Let's check our answer, and it is correct. Okay, the last one, this is a little different because now we have sine of x divided by 2. So what this is going to do is going to change my period. In other words, it's going to change when I finish one cycle. So in a regular sine, sine of x, you see that I start at 0, I go up to 90, then I go 80 degrees, pi is 0, then 270 is -1, and 360 is 0 again. So this is one complete cycle. But because I'm dividing my x by 2, I need to find my period. So my period is going to change. And how do you do that? There is a formula. So what you do is you write your 2 pi, because that's the period of a regular cycle. So 2 pi, and you divide by this number over here that's multiplying the x. So this is 1/2 of x. So you divide by 1/2. And when you divide by a fraction, remember, when you divide by a fraction, what you do is you multiply by the reciprocal. So this is the same of 2 pi times the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2/1, which becomes 4 pi. So what this is going to do is going to extend my cycle up all the way to 4 pi. Now this is only 2 pi, meaning that I'm only going to be able to see half of my curve. So this half, just pretend that this number over here is 2 pi. So this will be 2 pi, and then the rest is going to be after 2 pi. So it's going to be over here. So when I move my graph, I need to go and only show half of my graph, because this is 2 pi and the other half is going to go all the way to 4 pi, Let's check the answer, and the answer is correct. All right, so I hope you understand, and in the next video I'm going to show you more complicated ones. Have a great day.